I really like the aesthetic. I like the whole hand-drawn kind of crayon-y thing. Like that really comes off. I like it in the beginning with the story. Like that whole feel of that. And then I definitely feel the sort of escape room kind of theme that you're on there. So as far as the theme goes, you guys are like golden on that. And it's cool to like sort of have that. There's somewhere in between, like, I don't know what I'm doing and like I don't know what I'm doing, right? If that makes some sense. Like there's part of that of like, yeah, I'm trying to figure this out, but I'm not sure that all that would have come across that like I'm the killer. And if I'm trying to get out of the room, I gotta get in the room, and like there's just some sort of weird things around the storyline of it. That's like where that is, like kind of on the design side. As far as like the puzzles, like kind of going through that sort of a mechanic, that's really cool and interesting. Like to see sort of how that runs through. Like I like that, like but it's a little bit of the why, and so shooting the middle on that between like I don't know what I'm doing and how do you let me know what I'm supposed to be doing, that would be a thing to figure out. But really like the way it looks, like really cool. You build some cheats in there.
Yeah, the aesthetic is great. I also thought the ghost was kind of cute and funny.
Yeah, like what's up with that ghost?
Yeah.
You know, like so weird.
The fact that there's a lot of environmental storytelling, whether it's in finding notes or hearing the radio report and things like that, that's all great, and that's something that as you're going to be making, bigger indie games or just bigger budget games, that's something that, both on the design and the art side and narrative, all three of those disciplines are going to be focusing on that. And I think that this was a really good effort. I do agree that sometimes it was kind of unclear, like was this the ghost of somebody you had killed, or like why were the clock hands in the freezer? Like there's just a little bit of weirdness that I couldn't quite figure out, but it does kind of play into the fact that this is a bit mysterious, and maybe some of this is the fact that maybe you're a crazed killer and you're not quite sane. Like there's a lot you could play with here with those themes. So I think it's just a really good first effort. It does have puzzles and it functions. I don't know if there's much there in the way of replayability and whatnot. So as you're going to start thinking about these interactive systems and the kind of puzzles you're doing, one thing that you might want to look into is just how can you make that have some variety if somebody wanted to redo this, like replay the game. But a lot of great ideas, and if you decide to push it further, would love to see, sanding off some of the edges and really trying to just polish it up a bit.
Like being tormented by the 13 ghosts of his 13 victims thing, you got a lot. Yeah. There's options there.
I love the cutscene at the beginning. I think this is the first short-term game that I've ever seen with a cutscene, so good job on that. It was clearly a very good use of your time. Like I'm sure that, like for what you got out of that, it took very little time to make. I would like they were saying, like the ghost was really out of left field for me. I would love to see something in that in the cutscene, and even just a frame of like the ghost's face, and it's like I finally gotten you trapped, or I'm mad that you killed me, or whatever was happening there. Those are kind of really good player motivations to convey in something like a cutscene, and then you just never have to deal with it again, right? Like once players understand, like, oh, I killed this person, it's whatever they do is clearly like fits the narrative at that point. I also didn't understand why I was doing puzzles. Like, am I locked in the cabin? And I think that it probably had something to do with the ghost. But again, explaining why I need to get out of the cabin, why I'm there, would have helped a lot. I kind of just assumed, oh, I'm the killer because I'm in the woods. But after James said that, I was like, oh, maybe I'm running from the killer too. So I thought that was a really great radio clip, but something else to prompt that I'm running from the authorities would have gone a long way, like if there were police sirens or something. One thing that you have to get a lot of trees at the beginning, and that was super repetitive. One thing that is a really simple trick is just like rotate and scale that same model, and you'll get a lot more mileage instead of this like orchard feeling that you have. It would feel a lot more like a wilderness. There were also some like strange timing things with puzzle completion that I think threw me off. Like the moment you switched to the numbers on the radio, the news head started coming down. And it's hard for a player to track those kind of instantaneous causes and effects. You want something that is a little more like, oh, there's a series of numbers that's being played. And like, basically the moose started moving before I recognized there were numbers, right? And it's more like, I have to process that I'm hearing numbers, and then the moose is coming I would have loved to see the moose do like a little like, oh, numbers, oh, and then like kind of work his way down the hill to the radio, or even have it based on like my proximity to the moose while the numbers are playing, that he's like coming to sniff out this radio. The same thing with the like 10-15 swinging down. I think you had already put a clock hand up, and I felt like there was sort of a missed opportunity for foreshadowing that like this thing swings down, and I'm like 10-15. What does that mean? There's a clock, but it doesn't have any hands. Now I'm like looking for hands, right? Instead of, oh, I found a hand, I guess I'll put it, oh, there's a puzzle, right? It was a little backwards. I would have done that first. I like that you saw the time before you got the second hand, so you couldn't really solve the puzzle at that point, but I would like to see that go a step further. But yeah, great job. Yep.
I just have one small note that I wanted to add. I really appreciate that you put the work in on sound design. That is a huge part of storytelling that gets neglected a lot. So good job on that.
Thank you.